tracks. It all boils down to the final few rounds. Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge, is next. Supertracks presents Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands of New Jersey is the site of the Coors Light Challenge, round 15 of the Camel Supercross Series. Here, just a few miles from the Big Apple, a win for Jean-Michel Bayle would earn him a pair of honors. He would be the first rider in the history of the sport to win 8 events in a single season. And more importantly, with 3 rounds still to go, Bayle would lock up the Supercross Championship. Hello everyone, I'm Larry Myers. Welcome to Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. With me to help bring you all the excitement of Supercross is Steve Wise. Steve, I think we agree Jean-Michel Bayle has been red hot, but not so hot the last couple of races. Is the pressure getting to him?
No, I don't think so. He's able to handle the pressure, but I do believe he's being very cautious because his main goal is to win the 250 Supercross Overall Championship Series.
Well, we'll see if he does that tonight. Wendy Walsh will bring us all of the action from trackside.
That's right, Larry, and tonight's race could be the difference in the battle for the championship. As more than one rider told me today, he'll take the checkers home. Ready for action, Larry?
Thank you, Wendy, and we'll have that action when we return with Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. Back to Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. I'm Larry Myers, with me Steve Wise and Wendy Walsh. We're in East Rutherford, New Jersey for round number 15 of the Camel Supercross Series. Completing their warm-up lap, it's a final opportunity to look the track over, are the 125cc riders. Their main event will be getting underway very shortly. Here's a look at the track they'll be riding on. Notice as the line takes us all the way around the interior portion of Giant Stadium, up over the top of that big, long triple jumps, through some double jumps, under a tunnel, a unique part of this track. There's another big, long triple, a set of whoop-de-doos, up over the top what will be ultimately the finish line jump, back out to join that long starting straightaway one more time. Do that a total of 20 times tonight. Get to the checkered flag before anyone else. You'll be declared the winner of this East Rutherford round. 125 class on the start line, just about set to go. Here are the standings of the Eastern region heading into tonight's event. Swink and Buell, Honda teammates on top, followed by Bolin aboard a Suzuki, Doug Henry, a Yamaha rider, Barry Karsten rounding out the top 5. Here is our series leader, Brian Swink, out of Fenton, Michigan, 18 years of age. That's what he looks like underneath the helmet, the goggles, and all of the other safety paraphernalia. Ryan Hughes, another of the top contenders. He'll be aboard a Kawasaki, 17 years old, comes out of Shelby, North Carolina. Hughes has had injury problems this year. There's Jeremy Buell. He's in second. Now, there is one other rider that is missing from this main event. For those of you that have followed this 125 class all season long, you know who it is. It's number 19, a Suzuki rider, Talon Bolin, rather. Let's go back and take a look as to what happened to Talon Bolin earlier today in a heat race. Now, Talon Bolin was involved in his heat race in a battle for the number 1 position with the man that's leading this one, rider number 42, Brian Swink. He had passed Swink and had started to pull away, and everything looked good. It looked like it was all peaches and cream, and all of a sudden, Talon Bolin pulled to the side of the track and began waving his shoulder. He was obviously in pain. It looked like he was giving victory waves. That wasn't the case. He was hurting, coming over some of the rough stutter bumps on this racetrack. Talon Bolin actually separated his shoulder, and he was doing everything he could to try to get that shoulder back into the socket to complete the race. Now, that's my kind of a guy. He is tough, but it just didn't work. We're happy to report that everything is going to be okay. They took him to the hospital, and the injury has been straightened out, and hopefully we'll see him back. The 125cc main event is on the line, just about set to go. The heat race action leading up to this one leads me to believe it is going to be exciting. To the left of your screen, the series leader, rider number 42 is Brian Swink. To the right of your screen, the rider in the number 2 position, and he's a teammate of Swink, Jeremy Buell. Now, either one of these riders could walk out of this thing with the series championship. So they're teammates, but there's, this is going to be a tight one. What are they going to do, Steve?
Well, we're going to watch the start here, Larry.
You bet we are. Here we go. The gate's going to drop. We're looking at Buell and Doug Henry from the back. The gate is dropped. We're underway with the main event in this 125cc class. And squeaking to the front in this one, rider number 98, Jason Langford. And we've got a rider down in the first corner, and a couple of riders, as a matter of fact. They're both up. They're both okay, no problems. Up front, the Honda team, the Peak Antifreeze Honda team, running in second and third. So, oh, and look at that. Oh, what a bad break. Jason Langford went down. He was smacked by Jeremy Buell, the rider that we figured would be a contender in this one. Buell had nowhere to go but onto the ground. Talk about a bad break. Obviously, we're forgetting about Langford. He's holding onto that right leg in some kind of a problem, but for Jeremy Buell, that's just got to be some kind of a tragedy, because he could just look and say, we're out of it now. The championship is gone. Meanwhile, Brian Swink, no competition. He is way out in front. A big break for him, for his teammate. I don't know. Steve, we got to go back and take another look at this one.
Well, Larry, here comes Jason Langford over the jump. He didn't quite clear that second jump there. Smacked into that jump, threw the bike sideways, and then he runs right in the line of Jeremy Buell. Buell runs into him, and that wrecks the race for Buell right there.
You got to wonder what is going through Buell's mind. He was in contention not only for the win, but for the title. This is virtually going to eliminate all those chances. In any event, the 125cc action will continue when we come back right after this word from our sponsor. Stay with us for more Supercross Challenge from East Rutherford, New Jersey. Look at this. This is a battle for the number 2 spot. This is where the racing is at. And these guys don't even care who's out front. No, they're just hammering each other.
They really don't. They're just going to go after it because they're trying to make a name for themselves out here in the Supercross series.
And one of the things that happens when you get into a battle like this, I think you're able to elevate your status, your standards of riding to a new level. You get someone that's hammering away at your rear wheel, so you dig just a little bit deeper, you go a little bit faster, and all of a sudden you say, hey, I've never ridden this fast before, but I'm doing it right now. And that's called moving up a plateau or a level.
Yeah, what happens is when the riders in front of you, you just decide to go a little bit deeper into the corner, and you just ride 110% instead of 100%. So I'll tell you, you can also look for the lines, and it's really good to be behind someone, and that way it'll help you go a little bit quicker.
And these two, look at this. To the outside goes Brown, and oh, Palmer did that just right.
That was good.
Was that indecision on his part, or was it a good move? Now Brown goes into the lead. Brown just come right back and hammered Palmer and took the lead.
You'll notice, Larry, over that jump that he touched his back brake to bring that front wheel down.
Now here's our leader, Brian Swink, that Pro Circuit Peak Antifreeze Honda racing team. Pro Circuit builds the bikes, Peak Antifreeze puts up the money, and Honda donated the bikes and parts, and all three companies getting their money's worth this year with this young man and the rest of the team. Meanwhile, back in the number 3 position, rider number 31, Doug Henry. I believe Henry is in the number 4 spot, with Cliff Palmer, number 65, in the number 3 position. So this is the battle for the number 3 spot. Just a little while ago, we were looking at the battle for the number 2 spot involving Palmer, and now he's in another fight for his life over the number 3 spot. Palmer has to be thinking, where are these guys coming from? What's it going to take for me to get a little breathing spell out here?
Well, sometimes you get a good start and you kind of surprise yourself, and then all of a sudden you begin getting the pressure, but you just got to hang on. And also it really helps when you're under that pressure, because it pushes you a little bit harder and makes you become a better rider overall.
In Supercross, Steve, there's no such thing as a breathing spot on the racetrack. It's 100% concentration all the way.
There really is. The bumps, the jumps, the whoop-de-doos. I'll tell you, the Supercross tracks of today are so rough that you've got to be an absolute 100% physical conditioning.
We go back a few years ago. You won Supercross events, and here goes Henry to the outside, and Henry makes the pass. He takes over the number 3 position. Palmer drops back to 4th. Doug Henry has consistently been getting better and stronger as the races go on all season long. Just an outstanding young rider, a privateer, of course. And when we say privateer, what we mean is he is not factory sponsored. He has to go out and round up the dollars on his own. No one flies him to the races. No one pays for his mechanic or motorcycles. And you've done both. You were a privateer for many years. Then, Steve, you worked up to factory status with Team Honda, won some races for them. So everyone made out. But I think you'll agree with me, a privateer's life is not the easiest on the racing circuit.
Well, Larry, Doug Henry is the second 125 privateer to win a national. behind yours truly here.
This is the Farm League of Supercross. Coming up, the 250cc National Championship event. And that's where the guys go when they leave the 125 class. This is where they learn to race in front of crowds. It's where they learn how to put it all together, how to ride the motorcycles, how to react on Supercross tracks, because there is a definite difference between Supercross and the outdoor races that they learn to ride on, Steve.
Well, the outdoors are much longer. You've got higher speeds, and you know the outdoors have a wider track, there's no doubt, and you're able to use more of the track. Whereas the Supercross, you've got a real technical track, you've got double jumps, man-made whoop-de-doos, and I'll tell you, it's tough. A Supercross track is very, very tiring on your body, and you've got to be using your mind all the time to pick the lines around the course, Larry.
Second place, rider number 483, comes out of Gray, Tennessee, riding a Honda. That's Mike Brown, and Mike Brown is another one of those guys that just needs kind of a little push, a little bit of a break to move him up to be one of the top contenders in this Supercross class. Here in New Jersey at the Meadowlands is Brian Swink, rider number 42. He took over the lead in the #1 lap of this contest, and he's really had no competition. As I said earlier, he's on cruise control and just kind of having a field day out there. And you know what? It's interesting to note that when you get a lead like that, you really have to be careful because boredom sets in, and that's when you make mistakes. Doug Henry making none of those mistakes, having no problems with boredom. He's back in the #3 position, rider number 31. Henry coming out of Fairfield, Connecticut. And as Steve Wise pointed out just a few moments ago, only the second privateer to have ever won a 125cc national. And Steve, let me ask you this. Who was the other privateer to have turned that trick?
Well, he's the guy sitting beside you, Larry.
That's right. Steve Wise did that back in, what was the year, Steve?
1976.
So who could better say what it feels like for a privateer to win a major event?
It feels so good because you know that you put in your best and you've been able to defeat the factory riders that spend all that big money to come there. But then I tell you, the better feeling, Larry, is when you begin beating them, they begin hiring you. So that's the neat thing about it.
You get a few extra bucks for that, don't you, Steve?
Well, just a little bit.
The white flag is out. We're on the last lap of this one. Brian Swink out of Fenton, Michigan, the pro circuit, peak antifreeze Honda. He has ridden it to perfection. Cruise control all the way. On the opening lap, he took over that #1 position, and it looks like he's following a bike that's laying down an oil screen there. I don't know if that's camouflage or to keep the mosquitoes away here in New Jersey. There it is right in front of him. I think I want to move over and get that out of my way, and that's just exactly what Swink is going to do. Say, I'm not following. You think that bike is going to hold up for the rest of the lap, Steve?
Well, I don't know. It must have a blown ring or something, but it sure needs to get to the finish line.
Brian Swink is going to go under the tunnel one more time today. He'll cross 2 more jumps. There it is. Make a left-hand U-turn. Head across some little stutter bumps up toward the checkered flag, and let's see what kind of move Brian Swink makes for the fans. Oh! Whips it sideways, takes his hand off the handlebar, and waves to the crowd. Now, in all of your wins, have you ever done that? Mike Brown's pretty happy. He just got second place.
That's right. Well, I don't know if I've done one that well, but we used to do them the best we could back then.
Well, and back then it was good enough because that was state-of-the-art, Steve. No doubt about it.
That's right.
So Brian Swink wins this one. Let's go down to Winner's Circle and see what he has to say about the competition and the contest out here tonight.
Congratulations, Brian. You're one step closer to the 125cc East Coast Championship.
Well, I just got a real good start and just rode calm and real smooth. And a lot of guys had problems tonight, and I just kept it under control. I hope to go on next weekend, or 2 weeks, and win at Oklahoma and clinch the title.
Thanks, Brian. Larry, Steve, let's see the results in the current standings.
Oh, here they are, Wendy. It's Brian Swink. He finished in the #1 position. Mike Brown was second. Doug Henry third. Chris Coleman fourth. Rounding out the top 5, Barry Karsten. Here are the standings in the East. Brian Swink, Jeremy Buell, Honda teammates on top. Doug Henry is third. Then Mike Brown and Barry Karsten. Coming up, the Coors Light Challenge Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. It's round 15 of the Camel Supercross Series. The Coors Light Challenge 250cc main event just about set to get underway. The riders have moved to the starting line. The pre-race festivities are underway, just about over, and a huge crowd here at East Rutherford, New Jersey in Giant Stadium looking on and waiting for the action to start. Now, before the gate drops, let's take a look at how the riders made it into that Coors Light Challenge 250cc main event. A pair of heat races. The top 4 riders go directly to the main, then a pair of semis for those that have not made it out of the heats. Top 5 from the semis go to the main. Now, don't fret if you still have not made it. You get one last chance. That's why they call it the last chance qualifier. Top 2 riders go into the 250cc Coors Light Challenge main event. That sets the program. 20 riders for 20 laps. Now, in addition to setting the lineup, heat races are the basis for the Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown. The rider that wins the fastest heat race of the night gets a Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. At the end of the season, the rider that accumulates the most Showdown points wins $25,000 from Coors Light. Now, there's a bonus that goes along with that. If the rider that wins the fastest heat race of the night also wins the main event, he collects $1,000 cash from Coors Light. That cash builds up if it goes unclaimed. The first night it's worth $1,000, the second race $2,000, then $3,000, then $4,000, on down the line until it's finally claimed. Tonight's main event will be worth $3,000. That's the amount of the Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown bonus. Let's go back and take a look at the heat race competition held earlier today. Heat race number 1. From the center of the pack, Damon Bradshaw, rider number 11 from Charlotte, North Carolina, a Team Yamaha rider, put his Yamaha in front of the rest of the field. Right behind him, Mike Kiedrowski, rider number 4 aboard the Kawasaki. Kiedrowski with a good inside line. He moves into the number 2 position. Now, with Bradshaw and Kiedrowski out front, the eyes of the crowd turn to the battle for the number 3, 4, 5, 6 spot. They were all bunched together. Here's Jeff Matasevich, rider number 7. He's working on Mike Jones, number 79. Matasevich on the green Kawasaki. Right behind him on that orange or yellow, rather, Suzuki is Mike Jones. Matasevich takes the measure of Jones. Then Matasevich set out after his teammate, Mike Kiedrowski. He made the pass, and Matasevich moved into the number 2 position, dropping Kiedrowski back to 3rd. By that time, though, it was too late. Damon Bradshaw was long gone. The youngster from Charlotte, North Carolina, said goodbye to the rest of this field, and he concentrated on matters at hand. Those matters, of course, number 1, making it into the main event. He'll do that by winning this heat race, but number 2 going just as fast as he possibly can. There's the white flag. That signifies 1 lap remaining. Going just as fast as he possibly can to put himself in line for the Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. There's Bradshaw's time in the lower left-hand portion of your screen. You'll be able to keep track of what he is doing and what the next heat race will be doing in comparison as Bradshaw heads for the checkered flag. Meanwhile, Jeff Matasevich, rider number 7, Anaheim, California, member of Team Kawasaki, is doing everything that he can to close the gap between himself and Bradshaw. He knows that if Bradshaw were to make some kind of an error, just some kind of a slight miscalculation, then Matasevich would be in line to win the heat. Now, in addition to the Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point and transferring into the main event with that number 1 spot, the rider that gets the fastest time of the night will automatically get the first pick on the starting gate when they come out for the main event. Now, starting is the key to Supercross events. No two ways about that. Every rider will tell you that. Take a look at the time in the lower left-hand corner, 7:06. Let's go to Bradshaw.
Got off to a good start like I wanted to do, and just kind of set the pace from there.
This could be a critical win for you, Damon. What kind of pressure does that create?
There's no pressure on me tonight. I'm just out here to win and do my best.
Well, Bradshaw's best in heat race number 1. Good enough to beat Jeff Matasevich, Ron Tishner, and Mike Kiedrowski. Those are the 4 riders that will transfer from the heat and into the Coors Light Challenge main event. Still to come, heat race number 2, but first, let's go to Wendy Walsh.
Larry, from race to race across the United States, tuners travel with their bikes in trucks called box vans. Now, these vans have a number of functions, everything from conference center to changing room to social club and, of course, garage. This season, we have a new breed of team truck, Kawasaki's 48-foot custom-designed tractor-trailer rig. It's awesome.
It's a 1991 Kenworth T600. It's got a 4 1/4 Caterpillar motor, 13 speed with 355 rears. It's a pretty good truck. We carry a half a dozen motorcycles and all of the parts to build up probably another half a dozen motorcycles. We carry extra frames and fenders and forks and shocks and tires and just everything that you could conceivably need in between a race. I think the advantages are that we keep the whole team in one place, and the mechanics now with this facility are able to get some time off. And when they're on the road with a box van, you don't have time to work on a motorcycle and go home too. In that case, it's much better, I think.
The whole effort is just tremendously more professional than the way it's been done in the past. And there's just so many benefits to it. There's a lot of changes, but they are all positive, and we're really enjoying it so far.
Well, I would tell you that the Kawasaki team does not ride from venue to venue, hanging on the side of that beautifully prepared Kawasaki tractor trailer. Back to the heat race action. This is heat race number 2. Our defending Supercross champ, Team Honda's Jeff Stanton from Sherwood, Michigan. Rider number 1 bolted to the lead early in this one, and he would be in that number 1 position throughout the race, virtually uncontested. Behind Stanton, the rest of the field sorting themselves out. It was Doug Dubach on the Yamaha, Mike LaRocco on the Suzuki. There's Mike Fisher aboard the KTM. Jean-Michel Bale well back, working his way through the pack, as is Jeff Ward, rider number 3. Now, we'll see Ward coming up on his Kawasaki in just a second. There was Ward off to the left of the screen, a former Supercross champion 2 times. In fact, he has won that honor. Now, there is Ward. Right in front of him is Jean-Michel Bale as they try to put themselves into one of the transfer positions. Only top 4 finishers in this heat race will go directly to the Coors Light Challenge main event. The rest have to go through a series of semis or last chance qualifiers if they hope to make it. So critical is a finish in the top 4. Now, between our series leader, rider number 8, Jean-Michel Bale, and one of those top 4 finishes is Denny Stevenson, rider number 23, aboard the Suzuki. Look at this. Bale starting to get just a little bit physical. I think he's frustrated. He wants to get around Stevenson, and in most cases, the riders with Stevenson ability and experience would get out of the way of the seasoned veterans after they've been bumped and shoved just a little bit. But Stevenson is a nice, young, tough rider. A good, young, tough rider, I should say, and he's not about to give way for anyone. There, Bale tried a block pass. He got his wheel on the inside of Stevenson's Suzuki, and it looked like he might be able to get the job done, but back he got it there at the last second. Let's see what happens this time. No mistake about it. He run him right into the wall and went awfully deep this time to make that pass, or that last time, I should say. So Bale picks up 1 more position in his quest for a top 4 spot. Meanwhile, Jeff Stanton is headed toward the finish line. There's his time, 6:43. You can count it off. The time to beat is 7:06. That was the time that Bradshaw turned in heat race number 1. And here's the battle for the number 2 position. Mike LaRocco, rider number 6 on the Suzuki. And look who's running in 3rd right behind LaRocco from out of the pack. Jean-Michel Bale, rider number 8, under the tunnel. Let's take a look at Stanton. He's headed for the finish line, and his time, 7:06. That looks like a tie. Let's go back and take a look at that battle for 2nd and 3rd, and look at that. LaRocco was hit from behind by Bale. He gets up, and it looked like he knocked Bale's bike down in the process. I'm sure at that point that he was wishing that's exactly what he could have done, because Mike Fisher passed both of them to move into the number 2 spot. Here it is again. Watch what happens. Here's LaRocco, and bingo! Bale comes to the inside. Domino effect. They both went down. Bale gets going, but as LaRocco picks his bike up, Bale runs into it again. He goes down 1 more time. I don't think that's going to bother LaRocco 1 little bit. Here's the way they finished. It was Jeff Stanton, Mike Fisher. LaRocco finished 3rd. Jeff Ward finished in the number 4 and final qualifying position. Semi number 1, it was Larry Ward, Guy Cooper, Mike Jones, Keith Bowen, and Gene Newmack. Those are the 5 riders that will make it to the main. Bale easily winning semi number 2, followed by Emig, Stevenson, Keith Johnson, and Doug Dubach. Last chance riders, Fred Andrews and Mike Treadwell. Damon Bradshaw won the battle for the Coors Light Silver Bullet Showdown point. His time was 4/100ths of a second faster than Jeff Stanton. Here's the way they stand in that contest for the $25,000. Bale and Matasevich each with 4 points, and Stanton and Bradshaw with 3 apiece. Still a long way to go. We'll be back with Supercross action right after this as the 250 main event, the Coors Light Challenge, is about to get underway. The challenge, round 15 of the Camel Supercross Series. It's a beautiful night here in Rutherford, New Jersey for the Coors Light Challenge main event. That action will be coming your way very, very shortly. But first, let's go back 1 week ago, round 14 of the Camel Supercross Series, Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, heading into this event at the Silver Bowl in Las Vegas, Team Suzuki's Mike LaRocco had the dubious distinction of never having captured a hole shot in a Supercross main event. Well, at Las Vegas, his luck changed for the better. The hole shot went to Mike LaRocco. He was followed by Jeff Stanton, a couple of Kawasaki's up front in the early going. Jeff Ward, rider number 3, former Supercross champ, and Jeff Matasevich, rider number 7. But it was Stanton that did all the chasing in the early going. Several times, Stanton got close enough or drew close enough to Mike LaRocco to get a wheel on the inside, but each time LaRocco held on and did not fall to the pressure. But watch what happens here. Matasevich tries just a little bit too hard to get around Stanton and into second. Matasevich, bang, goes over the bales. He was up and all right. A couple of laps later, Jeff Stanton treating himself to a similar problem all by himself. Watch. He'll run up the side of this little wall. He gets the wheel on top, and the bottom wheel down below, and he can't hold it up. He just goes down in a heap, and he's going to lose his position at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, Mike LaRocco, the Port Indiana Team Suzuki, he's not believing any of that. He says, hey, this is Las Vegas. It's all done with mirrors, so he never got off the gas, not one iota. He was headed for the checkered flag, and nothing was going to get in his way. There was a little wave to the crowd, and we got a bigger one coming up. There it is as he crosses the finish line, takes the Vegas win. A big hug from Dad. That one was a long time coming. Talk about a happy guy. You can pour champagne on me any day, he says. So here's our leaderboard heading into this round at East Rutherford. Bale, Bradshaw, Kiedrowski, Stanton, Ward in that order. Let's take a look at some of the riders under the helmets. Jeff Stanton, our defending Supercross champ, 21 years old, out of Sherwood, Michigan, coming from France, also 21 years of age. Jean-Michel Bale, Damon Bradshaw, only 18, out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Jeff Ward, here's the veteran, age 29, comes out of San Juan Capistrano. Rounding out our top 5 in the standings, Mike Kiedrowski, another one of the youngsters coming up. This is what it's all about, Steve Wise. We're looking at the 250cc main event. We're just seconds away from the drop of the gate. The referee, out of camera range, is pointing at the riders and asking, are you ready? Jean-Michel Bale gave the signal, yes, he was okay. He's getting set to put his goggles on. Rider number 8, he is the series points leader. To the left of your screen, rider number 10, that's Larry Ward. We saw a shot of Jeff Ward, rider number 3 on the other side of the gate. Look at that big number 1. Boy, it gets heavy about this time of the year. He's the defending Supercross champ, out of the title hunt due to an injury that he incurred in Pontiac, Michigan. Missed 3 events that virtually eliminated all of his chances or put him down the drain for a title in this 1991 Supercross season. The thing I admire most about these riders, though, Steve, even with the title hopes gone, they do not give up.
That's right, Larry. Jeff would really like to go home winning this event here in New York.
Well, you've said it several times. A racer is a racer. The gate is about to drop. This one is going to be underway. There it goes. And out of the middle of the pack, immediately it's Jeff Ward aboard the green Kawasaki, headed toward corner number 1. And Ward is going to come home with the whole shot in this one. Right behind him, though, Jeff Stanton, the defending Supercross champion. Stanton holding down to the number 2 position. Jean-Michel Bale aboard the Honda is way back in the pack. I would estimate somewhere around 15th. We'll find him in a little bit, but let's take a look up front. It's Jeff Ward, Jeff Stanton, and Ron Tishner, rider number 12 aboard the Suzuki. Damon Bradshaw. Now Ward going to work on Stanton. There's Stanton going to work on Ward, I should say. He got the job done, takes over the number 1 spot.
He took that inside line away from him, Larry.
Oh, he did, and he did an admirable job. Here comes Damon Bradshaw to the left of your screen aboard that white motorcycle. Bradshaw is in the number 3 position behind Jeff Ward and Jeff Stanton. Tishner in 4th. The leader, Stanton. Here comes Bradshaw. Does not want Stanton to get away. Look at this. Oh, what a move.
I tell you, he squared that corner off and shot by Jeff Ward. I mean, like a rocket. And Jeff Ward takes it back.
Jeff Ward right side by side. How did he get in there? I thought he was passed.
Well, Jeff really outbraked him coming into that first corner there and just took the line away from him. And now Bradshaw's chasing Ward now, Larry.
I've got to think Bradshaw relaxed just a little bit trying to set up for that jump. And Ward just wasn't giving up, not relaxing at all. Put the pressure on, made the pass. It was outstanding. But Bradshaw gathers himself, pounds through that rough section, regains the number 2 spot. Ward had some problems because there's Tishner. Tishner caught Ward. They're side by side.
I think Ward missed a gear, but Bradshaw charged through, and now he's heading for Stanton. I think this is going to be a fantastic race we have in our hands here.
Well, his objective, of course, was to not let Stanton get away, and he got the job done there. There's the battle for the number 3 position. Ward and Tishner side by side. Out front, a battle royal for the number 1 spot. Look at this. Tishner holding on, and Tishner takes over 3rd.
Boy, he just ran him all the way up against the hay bales, and Ward couldn't do anything, and Tishner just took over that 3rd place position.
Out of Palm Harbor, Florida, a privateer. Boy, he'll strike some gold tonight for all of the good guys. Won't he? Jeff Stanton, meanwhile, holding down the number 1 position, being chased by Damon Bradshaw. Way back in the pack is our series points leader, Jean-Michel Bale.
I'll tell you, I think we have a good race on our hands here because Stanton has nothing to lose, Bradshaw has nothing to lose, and they're going to be going for it.
Well, Stanton is riding remarkably well, considering just a few weeks ago he seriously injured his shoulder in Pontiac, Michigan. You wonder if he can keep it up.
I feel good here after my injury. I had a few weeks of riding. I feel good. I'm ready to win here in New Jersey. Done it here before. 2 years ago I won, so looking forward to going out there and getting a good, strong ride and an aggressive ride. I think that's the most important, and most of all, go out and win.
Stanton is riding riding his race. He's taking his good lines, and he's going to let Bradshaw make his move wherever he can, but he's not going to give him an opening by trying to protect that #1 spot and maybe altering his racing lines.
Well, he for sure is going to be looking back. Jeff Stanton's going to be concerned about the track ahead of him, and he's going to be riding hard his lines that he's used to.
It looks to me that if Bradshaw is going to make the pass, he's going to have to go into one of these corners and squirt to the inside and try some kind of a block maneuver on Stanton. Now, if he does that, let me tell you, he'd better make it right.
He sure better.
Yeah, Stanton is a strong rider. He's a bull.
And he doesn't give you any room at all. I'll tell you what, I know about that.
That's what I was going to say. Oh, and Stanton makes a mistake. Stanton made a mistake through that rough section. He almost lost it there. He almost lost the lead.
He just about did, but I'll tell you what, we got to, Bradshaw's going to be charging in here. He's going to be looking for the line, but Stanton's going to be holding. Here we go. Bradshaw's coming after him.
See, there he tried, but there just wasn't enough room, and he knew better than to get any closer to Stanton. Now he tries to jump him on that triple jump. Out jump him. He's got the inside line. Is he going to do it? Stanton's around the outside and rails it. Bradshaw has taken over the #1 position. Stanton charges back. Look at this.
Right to the inside. Took his line away.
And now Stanton regains the lead, but Bradshaw hammers around the outside. Side by side. 3/4 of a lap they've been that way. Under the tunnel. Stanton holds down the #1 spot for the second time today.
Boy, they switch back and forth, Bradshaw's. Here we go.
Up over the top of that finish line. Jump in. Bradshaw takes it back. I can't see any place on this racetrack where either one of these riders has the advantage. Bradshaw looks behind him. Was that a look of contempt to say, hey, that's the last time I'm gone?
I'll tell you what, Bradshaw's going to try to pull away if he possibly can. But Jeff Stanton, you cannot count him out. He's in fantastic physical conditioning, and he's going to be right there, I believe.
Let's wait till we get to the next rough section, the next set of whoops, and see what happens, because that seems to be Stanton's forte on this racetrack. Being as strong as he is, he's able to really dial him in. And there, see, Bradshaw kind of wandering, and Stanton gained, but only a bike length. Now, if he could gain one more bike length, he'd have been in a position for a block pass. So if he can stay with him, I think at the end of one of the whoop sections is where you'll see Stanton try to make a pass.
Well, you'll notice Stanton, Larry, in that whoop section, he gets way over the back of the bike. That allows the front end to be light and the front end to skip across the top of those bumps, and the back end to have the traction it needs to blast through them.
Now, Bradshaw has opened up about a 4 or 5 bike length lead over Stanton. It does not look like much, but Stanton has got to be closer than that if he's going to attempt to pass, a block pass or pass through the stutters.
He's going to have to be. He's going to try to be right there. And right here, I think Jeff's going to make a run for it to try to catch him.
Coming up to one of the big, long triple jumps. Not much time to be made there, but Stanton gains maybe another bike length. Let's make that 2 bike lengths. They're headed toward one of the whoop-de-doo sections, and Bradshaw is not as comfortable or as fast through that rough stuff.
He's not. His suspension probably isn't working as good as Jeff's, and Jeff's right there. What Jeff's trying to do now, he's trying to pressure Damon, cause Damon to make a mistake so he can get by him for the win.
Well, if he cannot cause or create that mistake, he's going to have to turn into a brute. And speaking of brute, let's go back to Pontiac, Michigan for this week's Brute of the Week. The riders involved, rider number 18, Jeff Emig, aboard the white Yamaha, and rider number 6, Mike LaRocco, aboard the yellow Suzuki. Now, Emig is normally a 125cc rider, and maybe he's not used to the powers of that 250. In any event, he tried to put a block maneuver on Mike LaRocco, and LaRocco just kind of powered right through him. And in the process, LaRocco planted his foot right in the stomach, the solar plexus of Emig, then gave him a cuff. Now watch this. Emig taking LaRocco all the way up to the wall. LaRocco gets off, jumps on top of him. That was an accident. Now that little cuff to the head, that certainly was no accident, and that's going to make Mike LaRocco our Brute of the Week. You know what? That was so good, we need to see it one more time. LaRocco goes high. Emig takes the wheels out from under him. LaRocco, bam, jumps on Emig's stomach with one foot, gives him a cuff and says, out of my way, son. Mike LaRocco, our Brute of the Week. Come on, splash it on. Brute. Damon Bradshaw and Jeff Stanton are in a battle for the lead. Here goes Bradshaw, some 70 feet in the air with Stanton right behind him, and Stanton again starts to close through that part of the track. Now that lead down to maybe 2 bike lengths as they head through that rough stuff. Stanton taking a different line than Bradshaw. Bradshaw inside, Stanton all the way to the outside, pulls to within a bike length of Damon Bradshaw. Headed up toward the tunnel. They'll be passing under that tunnel. There they go, and now within a bike length again.
He's got him right there, those whoops. Jeff Stanton is gaining time in those whoop tubes back over there on the other side of the track.
But Stanton has to be a little bit closer coming into that corner before he can try that pass, Steve.
He's going to have to get up right behind Bradshaw to be able to make it, but he's also really pressuring him, and physical conditioning is going to play a major part right here, because when you're out in front like this, the pressure is on.
Well, the riders have had a couple of weeks off. It's been 2 weeks since they raced in Las Vegas, so they're all fresh. They're all rested, each and every one of them. They're riding virtually injury-free. Tail end of the season, the adrenaline is flowing, so no excuses this time around.
Well, there's not any. Here we go through that section again.
And again, look at that.
Look at the time he's making there, Larry.
Now, he is almost close enough. Oh, if he'd have been a half bike length closer, I believe he could have tried to stuff in that corner. And I don't think that Stanton will hesitate to do that. Neither one of these riders really are in contention for the title. The only thing that they can salvage this season are personal win records, and I think they would like to do that. It's more money, of course, but just for pride, the halfway point has been reached as they crossed the finish line jump that time around. The referee signified that. So half the race is down, half to go. This is where you said, Steve, the stamina starts to come into play.
Well, watch Stanton here. He clears this one jump that Bradshaw's not. He's jumping clear over that tabletop, making some time there. And now we're going to come around to Stanton's good part of the track, and let's see what he can do through this section of whoops right here.
He's a little bit closer, Steve, than he was the last time around.
Let's see what he can do.
But Bradshaw, he's almost close enough to try a block pass, but I think he's just biding his time, and he's watching.
He sure looks like that. He sure looks like he's trying to wear Bradshaw down in this race.
Now, we talked about a block pass. For those of you that are unfamiliar with that term, it's when the rider that is behind simply goes to the inside of the rider that's out front and takes the line away from him. He puts his motorcycle in between him and the racetrack, and the guy has no choice but to stop. That was almost a sample of it.
Sure
but Stanton backed out of it. He's playing kind of a mind game, a pressure game right now. He's just worrying Bradshaw, keeping the pressure on. And at this point in the game, to be very honest with you, I think the rider that is most fluid and most in control is Jeff Stanton.
It definitely looks like that. He's riding smart, smooth, and I really think he's just trying to pressure and wait till that right moment.
So Stanton keeps showing the wheel to Damon Bradshaw. Now through that rough section of whoops again. Bradshaw kind of skipping around, and Stanton is just pounding through. Oh, a lap rider. Now that can't help your cause.
That sure can't. That's tough. When you get the lap riders, I tell you, brakes really play a major important part of this.
Bradshaw, let's give a call to that young man. 18 years of age. He's riding like a seasoned veteran. He's not really concerned about Stanton. If he is, he's not showing that concern. He's not letting the pressure get to him. He's riding his race, and there again, almost that block pass. Stanton has almost got a shot at it. But Bradshaw is riding his own race, picking his own lines, and he's forcing Jeff Stanton to make the aggressive move. He's not going to move over and try to take the line away that would give Stanton the opportunity maybe to switch lines.
Well, you can't take anything away from Bradshaw. I tell you, he is a fantastic young man, and as far as his riding ability, and he's going to be right there.
Stanton now switching lines. He went to the inside that time. He changed lines completely. He had been going to the outside, Steve. He tried something new there, and I think he just found that he can go just as fast there as he could to the outside. So we'll see the next time around if Stanton tries that again. That could be the pass situation that he's looking for.
It sure could, and when you're on the inside, you've got much better line just to take the line away from the rider in front of you.
Question is, does Bradshaw have any left? Is he riding right now 110%? Maybe he's just slacked off a little bit and waiting for Stanton to make that aggressive move.
Well, Larry, I tell you what, when you're out in front like that, the pressure is on, and you're riding as hard as you can all the time. And both of these riders, I believe, are given 100%.
This is unbelievable. First and second, they've been this close. Each of them have shared the lead, not shared, but each of them have had the lead a couple of times. Now, for the last several laps, it's been Damon Bradshaw out front, but they've never been further than just 3-4 bike lengths apart. Right now, that distance less than a bike length is Stanton working on the rear wheel of Damon Bradshaw. Stanton, the defending champion out of Sherwood, Michigan. Bradshaw, 18 years old. He's the challenger, the rookie. Not only his second full year in 250cc Supercross competition. Comes out of Charlotte, North Carolina. There goes Stanton to the inside. There it is. Oh! Bradshaw did not back off 1 inch. Give that man all the credit in the world.
I'll tell you, that could have both gone down right there.
Unbelievable situation.
I tell you, but Jeff Stanton also backed off too, or that could have been a big collision.
Well, it definitely could have. I don't know how you would call that one. It looked to me like Stanton and Bradshaw both said, hey, I know you're there, to each other. There goes Stanton to the outside, side by side with Bradshaw. Now he's going to try to square it off, square it to the inside, and Stanton made the move where I didn't think he could make a move.
He sure did. I'll tell you what, that shows that experience, and that's why he's got the #1 plate.
Steve, has he been setting that up? Because we had no indication from up here that he would even try a pass there.
Well, he's kind of been getting close right there, and he was all the time when you were back. I tell you what, don't count Bradshaw, though. He's right there, and you can see he's going to give his extra effort right now.
Well, if anything, it probably is going to stir Bradshaw up just a little bit. The adrenaline is going to be flowing. Now, both of these riders are on a wicked pace, so there's no saying I've got some left here or that's going to make me go any faster. They're both riding extremely hard. I believe that now. Early part of the race, I wasn't sure. They're both giving 110%.
They are. You can see it. They're riding absolutely to the limit.
Jeff Stanton out front, the defending champ. He's won 3 times this season. Bradshaw has won twice. Bradshaw has led most of this race, but Stanton took that lead away from him. Let's go back and take a look at how he did it, Steve.
Stanton's on the outside line there. His weight's way far back in these whoops, you'll see. Coming in here, and he just jumps him right there, slams on the brakes, cuts underneath him, and takes away the line coming over these jumps, Larry.
And as I say again, it was just an unexpected move as we joined live action again, because I had expected him to try a block pass at a different part of the racetrack. What a move. Stanton is he was calm, cool, collected, and he thought that one out, knew where he was going every inch of the way.
He sure did. He seems like he's pulling the lead. There's Jean-Michel Bell back in the middle of the pack, going for the points, Larry.
So setting it up again, it's Stanton, it's Damon Bradshaw in second, and this rider, Mike LaRocco, third, out of LaPorte, Indiana. Mike LaRocco in round number 14 just a week ago in Las Vegas, Nevada, rolled the dice. They came up 7s, and Mike LaRocco took his first ever Supercross win. Did it by getting a hole shot and leading wire to wire, and he's certainly doing himself proud out here tonight. LaRocco in the number 3 spot, holding it down. Meanwhile, Jeff Stanton continues to pull away from Bradshaw. Bradshaw, running in second place, is not in a position to challenge. We're looking at the white flag, 1 lap to go. Barring some unforeseen incident, Stanton is going to rack up his 4th win of the season. And what a gutsy ride on the part of the defending champs. You know, we can only wonder if Stanton had not been injured in Pontiac, what kind of a points race we would be looking at right now. I have to say, it would have been a doozy.
I think Jeff Stanton is just absolutely proving that injury was what really cost him the title, and he's showing here the champion that he really is.
Only one rider had ever won 3 in a row. That would have been Bob Hanna, of course, many years ago. Stanton looked like he was in a position to do that. The injury took him out of it. Fighting now for whatever wins he can get, a little bit of pride, whatever is left of the season. And, of course, every time he does win one, he gets a few more bucks. He's only got 1 more corner to go and a couple of little whoop-de-doo sections. Here he goes into that hairpin turn, headed up toward the finish line, and Jeff Stanton is going to take his 4th win of the season. Jeff Stanton takes the checkered flag. Following him will be Damon Bradshaw. He turns around and gives Bradshaw the thumbs up, says, good racing. That's the kind of stuff they like to do. They love to mix it up. They like to do it clean whenever they can, and certainly today was an example of that. Here comes Mike LaRocco. He'll take the checkered flag. Jeff Stanton wins it. Damon Bradshaw finishes 2nd. Mike LaRocco was 3rd. Jean-Michel Bale 4th. Guy Cooper rounding out the top 5. Supercross 91, the ultimate challenge. We'll be right back. We'll talk to the winners. Stay with us. East Rutherford, New Jersey, Giant Stadium. The winner of round 15 of the Camel Supercross Series was Jeff Stanton. Wendy Walsh is with Jeff.
Jeff, you still have a mathematical chance to win this series, and you made some line changes in there to make that pass. Can you tell us about it?
Well, I just basically, Damon passed me there about halfway through the race, and I just sat beside him, pushed him a little bit, watched his lines, and when I knew it was about time, I made the move.
And here are the standings following round 15. Jean-Michel Bale on top, followed by Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, Mike Kidrowski, Jeff Ward rounding out the top 5. Another exciting night of racing here in the Meadowlands, and Steve keeps getting better and better. Jean-Michel Bale still has not wrapped up the title.
Well, Larry, he's just being consistent and smooth, and he's wanting to wrap that tile up, riding very cautious in his riding style.
In a way, he's going, I think probably, maybe he'll do it next week in Oklahoma City. You notice I said maybe, because you just never know what's going to happen. That's where the Supercross Series goes from here, and we'll be there as Supercross 91. The Ultimate Challenge continues. For Steve Wise, my announcing partner, and Wendy Walsh down at the field, we'll see you then. Round 17 of the Camel Supercross Series. The site, Spartan Stadium, San Jose, California. At stake, hundreds of thousands of dollars. With only 2 rounds remaining in the series, it's crunch time for some of the world's finest athletes in one of the world's toughest sports. Stay tuned. The excitement of Supercross 91, the Ultimate Challenge, is next.